Good morning, everybody. Let me get started here in just a second. Making sure we got everybody in from the waiting room. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Let's see. Hi, Robert. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Our usual morning, well, every session, actually, morning, afternoon of housekeeping. We're going to utilize the chat feature if you have a comment or have a question. And for our YouTube viewers, will be if you're YouTube live, we will pull your questions as well. And if it's after the fact, you can go to auxiliary.uga.edu, click on auxiliary connections, and then select survey/feedback, and you can leave your feedback there, questions, comments, what we're doing that you like, what we could improve on. You can leave it anonymously, or you can tell us who you are. So like I said, questions, chat them in, and we'll get started. Catherine, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, take it away, Catherine.
Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, well, good morning, everybody. My name is Katherine Ingerson, and I'm the registered dietitian for dining. And part of my job at the university is to help students eat healthfully on the meal plan. So I will help the chefs with menu planning and recipe development. I also meet one-on-one with the students to make sure that they can navigate the dining halls if they have special dietary needs. So a lot of our students come to Georgia with different food allergies or medical conditions that will cause them to need nutritional guidance. So they might have high blood pressure, they might have cholesterol problems, they might have special metabolism errors where they might not be able to digest everything or be able to handle certain amino acids. And so my job is to make sure they get the food that they need and to make sure that I can write out a menu for everything that's on the dining hall meal plan that they can have, and to make sure that they feel welcome at Georgia and incorporated with the student body and to be able to find what they need. So today I'm going to talk to you about what's in your pantry. So I know that we have a lot of limitations on when we're able to go out. We have been asked to stay home as much as possible. So it's been a good suggestion to try to keep your shopping to once every week. Some people are able to shop every other week. It really depends on how many people are in your family, the amount of storage you have, and your cooking skills and knowledge, and if you're able to buy enough staples to get you through. So I'm going to talk about what type of things that are good staples to have on hand, and some nutrition powerhouses that you can make sure to incorporate to make sure you're getting a lot of vitamins and minerals that'll be beneficial and to give you lasting, sustaining energy. And we're also going to talk about some things that are good to have in your pantry to make sure that your immune system is nice and healthy and running at top speed. And we'll also be really creative on what couple things you might have that seem really random and how you can throw them together to make a tasty meal and to have some nutritional value there. So one of the things I want you to do is just take a minute and think, what kinds of things have you been eating lately? You know, I've heard from some people that they're eating very similar to what they were before. Other people have said, oh no, I'm cooking way, 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 way more. And then I've had some people say I'm snacking more, or some people are turning to comfort foods more than normal because of the stress of trying to like run a household, teach kids, their schoolwork, work a full-time job, or just maybe the worry that you have about people in your family. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And one of the things I thought I would do is reach out to one of my former students that used to work for me in dining services. She was an undergraduate and graduate student years ago at Georgia. And I said, you know, hey, how you doing? Just wanted to check in. I'm doing this nutrition presentation on what you have in your pantry. And I thought, hey, can you just show me a picture of one of the things that you've been eating on a regular basis lately as a meal and share it with me? And she's like, sure. So this is the picture that she sent me. And it was just a box of mixed nuts. And I said, is this your meal lately? And she's like, yeah, this literally helps me from going nuts. So I have to admit, I cracked up when I saw this picture that she'll use this not just as a snack, but sometimes as a meal. Now, she is working a full-time job and she's considered an essential employee. She runs a K through 12 school district as a nutritionist, and she is coordinating, making sure that the students in her county are still getting meals. And so she's still working. She has people to manage, kitchens to run. And so sometimes this is her meal during these times. Okay, so some of the things that you might be thinking or asking is, what type of food should I have on hand? What are the best staples nutritionally? How do I prevent getting tired of my meals or eating the same foods over and over again? How do I prevent eating when I'm bored or stress eating? What's a good healthy snack? How often should I be eating comfort foods? And are there healthier ways to make my favorite comfort foods so that I can eat them every couple days? So the things that we're going to talk about today are the first three items. We'll be having some more webinar sessions down the road. And so me and my assistant Mariah, we'll be talking about the other things in the oncoming weeks. But today I'm going to really address what type of food you should have on hand. What are those best staples nutritionally? What are those powerhouses that are going to give you a lot of bang for your buck? And then we're also going to talk about like trying to get out of the rut of eating the same thing over and over again. Okay, so what should I have in my pantry? So that's actually a trick question, because the answer is whatever your family's going to eat. Because I can tell you what I have in my pantry, but you might look at it and say, that looks gross, or my kids would never eat that, or, oh, I'm allergic to that, or I just don't digest that very well. So I'm going to give you some good ideas, and I'm going to give you some substitutions so that you can decide how you want to put it together and you put your own twist on things. However, we do have a few nutritional rules that you need to follow. Okay, so for the best that you can, you want to try to have either a fruit or a vegetable at every single meal. And yes, I said every meal, not snacks. That's okay. You don't have to have those at snack time, but the best that you can, try to have a fruit or a vegetable or both if you have it on hand at every meal. So maybe right now you don't have that in your pantry, but maybe the next time you have the opportunity to go to the store, I'll have a little top 12 things that you can consider to buy on your grocery list that you could put in your pantry to really kind of boost your nutritional value to your meals. The second rule is try to aim for a meal that contains 3 food groups. We're going to go over what those food groups are in case you've forgotten, but we really try for a meal to incorporate 3 food groups. If it's only 2, it's really more kind of like a snack, right? Okay, so the next thing is eat 1 large source of protein per day. So if you're a meat eater, you really only need to eat meat, a good source of protein at dinner. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. We're on budgets, we can't really shop. You might find that you're trying to shop go a whole week or 2 weeks without shopping and you're kind of running out of meat towards the end of the week. It's okay to only have it once per day. You don't have to eat meat at every single meal. If you want to, and that's part of your nutritional goals, that's a different thing. However, you don't need to feel that pressure, especially in times when we're on a budget or when we have limited resources or the limited ability to go to the store or get out. Okay, now if you don't eat meat or you just like little bits of meat at a time, then the other rule is just have a small amount of protein at every meal. So what's a large piece of protein? Basically, if you look at the palm of your hand, it's going to be the size of your palm. and it's going to be as thick as your pinky. So go ahead and hold your hand up and look at it. Your hands are proportioned for your body. So if you are 6'4", the odds are your hand is going to be a lot bigger than mine at only 5'4". And so about the palm of your hand, as thick as your pinky, that's a good source of protein, because protein is also found in grains and in vegetables and in dairy and in beans, and we're going to get to that. So you don't have to just eat meat. However, a small amount of protein would be something that's smaller than that. So maybe just like a scoop of peanut butter or a little handful of nuts, or maybe a sprinkle of beans on something. Okay, so why fruits and vegetables? Why do I want and recommend and health recommendations consider fruits and vegetables so vital? Why is that? Why do we need to make sure that we're trying to get one at every single meal? And the truth is they contain a lot of essential nutrients to health. They have things that are called phytochemicals, and that is a naturally occurring plant chemical, and they fight cancer and stroke and blood pressure and heart disease and diabetes. They really are essential to optimal nutrition and health. They are also low in calories, but really high in nutrients. And so for your bang for your buck, not a lot of calories, a lot of nutritional value, it can go a really long way versus something like soda, a lot of calories, not much, and basically no nutritional value. Okay, so vitamins and minerals are really abundant in fruits and vegetables. So I've listed some here on the screen. We have lots of minerals, lots of vitamins. So when you're getting getting a snack of fruit or having a vegetable in your meal, you're really boosting those nutrients. The other thing that fruits and vegetables offer is fiber. And we know that fiber, especially the type from fruits and vegetables, helps lower our cholesterol level. So that helps our risk of heart disease. And it helps keep us feeling fuller longer so that you feel satisfied, so that if you have a good amount of fiber in your meal, you're less likely to have cravings through the day, and you're less likely to feel snacky and like you just need to go eat. The other benefits of fruits and vegetables is what they do for our immunity. So they help us make sure that if we do get sick, we get over it faster, and our symptoms are not as severe. And it helps also make sure that our body is fighting off viruses and bacteria as they enter our body so that we don't even get sick to begin with. Now, I'm not saying that if you eat tons of fruits and vegetables, you're not going to get sick ever, because that's not true. But the whole point of fruits and vegetables is to help make sure your immunity is high so that when you do get sick, you will be able to fight it off to the best of your body's ability. The other great thing about fruits and vegetables is it helps improve mental health. So it lowers our anxiety. Studies show that not only does it lower anxiety, but it actually helps fight depression. They've done studies in children, adolescents, adults, elderly, and have found that across the lifespan, fruits and vegetables help with mental health. It also boosts your body ability to deal with stress. So during this time when we're facing a lot more stress in different areas of our life than we're used to, we need those boosters to help us feel healthy. And the last things that the fruits and vegetables can do is help improve our sleep. And we know that if our sleep is doing well, then we're going to be feeling better, that we're going to feel more rested, and our immune system once again will be healthier. And then fruits and vegetables help your memory. They make you think better, so you function better, you can remember things better. That fruits and vegetables actually help a certain part of our brain called the hippocampus to be the best size that it can and run efficiently so that we have a better memory. Okay, so why does protein matter? Why do I worry if you're having protein at all during the day? Like I said earlier, you want to have either one really good source of protein or make sure you have small amounts throughout the day. And the reason why is that protein helps your immune system. You need protein to fight off bacterial infections and viral infections. We use protein to make antibodies. It helps repair any tissue in our body, including our muscles. It helps to build our bones. It helps with cartilage, our skin, our blood cells, hormones, signaling, you name it. And then I've listed a lot of different really good sources of protein. So eggs, but also fish, poultry, chicken, meat. It could be beans, nuts, seeds, soybeans or soy milk, tofu, peanut butter, but it also could be any nut butter like sunflower butter or almond butter. And then other sources of protein are yogurt and like milk, cow milk, goat milk, soy milk, cheese, cottage cheese, and then quinoa, which is a type of grain. So once again, if you're feeling stressed out, studies show that eating fish actually helps lower our stress levels and deal with stress better. People who eat fish are happier. In studies, they find that people who eat fish regularly are happier than people who don't. And so it's also a great source of protein, but what it has that's so unique is omega-3 fatty acids. And those do a lot of wonderful things in the body with our heart health, our brain health, our memory. It can heal injured brain cells in our brain. It helps with food cravings. So the more fish you eat, the less likely you're going to want that brownie in the middle of the night. It helps with our anxiety. It's recommended to no matter who you are to eat fish twice a week. And the great thing is you can buy it fresh, frozen, or canned. So yes, canned salmon, canned tuna fish absolutely count. All right, so the food groups, meals, like I said, we want to aim for 3 different food groups. So we want a fruit or a vegetable and a grain, or a grain and protein with some dairy, or grain, protein, and vegetables, some type of combination so that all of our food, at least 3 food groups are there. The reason you do that is because you're increasing the likelihood of getting the nutrients and vitamins and minerals that our body needs. And the other thing is that certain nutrients, when they're eaten together, actually increase absorption of other nutrients. For example, vitamin C enhances iron absorption, but you only usually get vitamin C in fruits and vegetables. So if you just have beans and rice or just have a piece of chicken with a roll, you don't have enough vitamin C in that meal to make sure that you're optimizing your iron absorption. So just adding a source of vitamin C, like some bell peppers on top of that chicken or salsa with that beans and rice, and you're going to get more iron out of your meal. Okay, so meal ideas using these 3 food groups. So what if I like beans and rice? You could add chicken, salsa, corn, bell peppers. The chicken's protein, salsa, corn, and bell peppers are vegetables. Now you have a grain, a protein, and a vegetable. You have more food groups. If you have spaghetti and marinara sauce, you could add any type of meat you like. And you could also have a piece of fruit on this side. If you're eating pizza, you can have a side salad or maybe cut up some tomatoes or sliced cucumbers and have that on the side, or have a piece of fruit. You can also have chicken noodle soup, where you add carrots or celery or bell peppers, or I actually like to add zucchini and squash to my chicken noodle soup. I think it's really delicious. It's a tip I learned from cooking with my great aunt. Sandwiches, when you have a sandwich, it's usually 2 pieces of bread and some type of protein in the middle. So what's missing would be either some fruit or veggies that you can have on the side. Hamburgers and French fries, once again, that's protein and grain. What you could do is add vegetables or some fruit or something like that you enjoy. Okay, so if you have a limited budget, we're limited on the number of times that we can go to the grocery store. What should we buy? So the first thing, sweet potatoes. So this would be part of that grocery list that I would hope you would consider taking with you to the store. 1 sweet potato has all the vitamin A you need for the entire week. And potatoes and sweet potatoes have just as much potassium as a banana, and they last a whole lot longer than bananas. So while you love that banana, you're able to get it, and after a couple days they're gone, potatoes will last in your fridge or in your pantry for weeks. And then the skin has vitamin C and iron and B vitamins. So I'd ask you to try the skin if you've never had it before. And believe it or not, people that I've had do that over the years have come back and told me that they like the skin, they really enjoy it. They don't mind it at all when they dice it up and put it in their soups or casseroles, or even when they're having a baked potato. And I've actually had a lot of guys come back and tell me that the skin is their favorite part of the potato. Tuna fish, it's a great source of protein. You get those omega-3s, it has B12. B12 is really essential for your energy levels and a normal metabolism, healthy red blood cells, preventing anemia. But, you know, what if you don't like fish or you're allergic or you think it just tastes gross? Well, you can also do canned chicken. It's not going to have the omega-3s, but it will have that protein, and it's going to have the B12. And it's something that's shelf stable that you can just keep in your pantry and save for something like chicken salad or chicken noodle soup or chicken pot pie. Peanut butter and nuts are a really great protein source. They're plant proteins, they're heart healthy fats, a lot of potassium, magnesium, iron, and you only need a little handful to get all the benefits of those vitamins and minerals. Beans are fantastic. They're really high in potassium, which means that they're going to help your blood pressure. They have a specific type of fiber called soluble fiber, and when you eat that, it actually lowers your cholesterol. They're also a great source of protein and amino acids. And we also know that they have folic acid, and that's great if you're pregnant because it's going to prevent birth defects. And everybody, even if you're not vegetarian, the recommendation is to eat it twice a week because they're so good for our heart and our digestion. Another thing to consider buying would be canned tomatoes or tomato sauce. And yes, I said canned. And the reason why is that cooking process really activates some of the vitamins in the tomatoes. One that's called lycopene is activated when it's heated up. And so if you eat a fresh tomato, it's really good for you, high source of vitamin C, but when you cook it, the lycopene becomes activated and you're able to absorb it. And lycopene has been shown to help reduce prostate cancer. And the vitamin C helps with our immune system. And then olive oil, some type of cooking oil, is healthier than having a lot of butter or lard or Crisco on hand. It's just a shelf stable. It doesn't last quite as many years, perhaps, as, well, actually, I don't even know if it lasts as much as Crisco. I'd have to look that up. But they both can turn rancid over time, but you're usually good for a good solid year. And it helps you with sauteing. Olive oil is also one of the few sources in our diet of vitamin E. And vitamin E is really important for our immune system as well as our skin and our hair. And then you can use it to saute things or use it instead of butter or margarine. Orange juice. It's a great thing that you can buy if you have room in your fridge. It has vitamin C, of course, and that's really important for your immune system. But it also, you can buy the calcium fortified kind, and then it's got calcium too, and it lasts really long time in your freezer. So if you wanted to buy the orange juice concentrate, it is okay. That is 100% juice. All they've done is suck out the water, and then you're able to keep it in your freezer for up to a year. And then when you can just add water and reconstitute it and bake or cook with it or just drink it. And then berries are fantastic for your health. And so I consider buying frozen berries. They're just as healthy as fresh berries, and they last up to a year in your freezer. And those rich colors means that they're high in those phytochemicals that fight cancer. And then you also have things like frozen spinach or any other leafy green that you like. And yes, broccoli does count in that category. Super high in calcium, vitamin A, vitamin C, fiber, easy to throw into things like omelets or salads or smoothies. You can also make sure you get eggs, super cheap source of protein that lasts for weeks in your fridge. You don't have to worry about cooking it very quickly. And egg yolks are one of the only food sources of vitamin D and choline, so it's really good. Lycopene, or sorry, lutein and different phytochemicals that are good for our eyes and our brain health are also in eggs. Frozen broccoli is another really easy thing that you can buy. And you can take a big bag of broccoli, open it up, pour out what you want, and then throw it back in the freezer. And once again, it lasts up to 2 years in your freezer. Yeah. It's not going to taste good if you wait 2 years to eat it. It will get frozen or in freezer burnt, but it's going to taste marvelous for up to 6 months. But technically, yeah, you can keep it in your freezer longer than that. It just starts to taste a little off. But the great thing is you didn't buy all these fresh fruits and vegetables for them to go bad in your fridge. And you didn't have to worry about trying to go back to the store every few days to get more fresh fruits and vegetables. Just buy them frozen. Yogurt is the last thing to consider buying. A really great source of calcium, potassium, and probiotics that are really good for our gut health, but once again, help with things like memory and retention and anxiety, as well as our immune system. Okay, so we went over a lot of nutrition basics and some powerhouses of things to buy when you can go out, or perhaps you already have those things in your pantry. So now let's look at some meal ideas. All right, so everyone talks about beans and rice, right? And what I've done here is I've color coordinated the different food groups. So we have rice, this is our grain, our protein is going to be purple, our vegetable is going to be green, and then our fruit, so lemon juice, just a tiny bit, counts as a little bit of fruit. Okay, so you can do there's different versions of beans and rice. Most people think of black beans and rice, but I really like doing weird things and being experimental, and I love peas. And so I sometimes make peas and rice. And yeah, you can add things like lemon juice or salsa, and that's going to boost that vitamin C content so that we can absorb the iron better from that white rice and the split peas. You can also use brown rice. I like keeping both in my house because it depends on what I'm making. I love brown rice, but sometimes white rice is better for the dish just for culinary reasons or because of time. It cooks faster. Brown rice takes twice as long to cook. So sometimes I have both on hand because I'm in a hurry. You could also do canned tomatoes instead of salsa. I know a lot of people who enjoy stewed tomatoes over rice and then add some type of protein to it and use that as like a good base. You can also use quinoa. You don't have to use rice. Quinoa it acts like a grain and it's really, really high in protein. It has a lot of I think it has every single amino acid, just like protein. It's got a lot of fiber. Now, the amino acid levels aren't quite as equal as protein, but it's really excellent source of protein. And you can pair it with different types of beans. So one of my favorite is black beans with quinoa, and I like the different colors just because I think it's pretty. And then, like I said, it's a great source of protein and fiber. And then this is how my sister-in-law likes to make her beans and rice. She likes adding enchilada sauce and salsa to it. So it's really more enchilada, type of flavors to it. Okay, so then you can also do like a homemade honey mustard. I like taking honey and mustard and cooking chicken in it. And I usually put onions in there too. And I just do it to taste and just keep on trying it. I'm like, oh, is that good? Is that too much honey? Is that not? My friend here in Athens has some honeybees, and it's the Classic City bee company, and he gave me this smoked honey. It's really delicious on proteins. And so I find it has like a really fun flavor, but you can find like lavender honey, you can find sriracha honey. There's all these different fun honeys that you can play with if you like honey. And once again, it makes a really good dipping sauce or stir fry. And then you can add any vegetable that you want, and you can add pasta, or you can use rice, or you can use cauliflower rice, or whatever you have on hand or that you're in the mood for that stir fry. Another thing to do when you have beans and pasta, not a lot of meat, maybe make a pasta salad. So one of my favorite cold ones is to add a little tomatoes, some olives, Italian dressing, some beans to my pasta, and eat it as a nice cold dish. And it lasts and keeps, for several days in the fridge. So you can make a big pot and then snack on it all week. Gumbo. We really like gumbo. My husband lived in New Orleans for several years, and so he came back with all these great recipes. And so we like to try different variations of jambalaya and gumbo. We love okra. It's one of the things we grow in our garden here at our house. It's like the only thing I really grow well. I don't know why, but my okra plants go crazy, and so I have tons of okra, so we love to grill it. We also like to put it with stewed tomatoes and rice. And then you can add any type of protein you have on hand. If you have beans, you can add that. You can add fish, shrimp, chicken, sausage, and you can just kind of throw it together in one pot. I love one pot meals because it's fast. I can dump it together, kind of walk away, maybe do a little bit of browning of bell peppers and onions, and then kind of dump stuff in, put it on like medium low, walk away and to take care of my kids or do whatever else I need to do. And then I don't have a lot of dishes at night. Okay, so tuna fish. Tuna casserole used to be a really big deal, right? So you can do any type of pasta. If you ever look at those hamburger helper or tuna helpers at the grocery store, it's really just a lot of seasonings and pasta, or seasonings and rice, and then tuna fish. So if you have tuna fish and you have rice, or tuna fish and pasta, you can combine them together with seasonings of your choice. So I really like snow peas, and then maybe adding a little bit of milk and cheese and kind of make it creamy. Or if you have Alfredo sauce, you could use that. You could also use cream or cream cheese if that's what you have. You can use different seasonings if that's what you have on hand, but tuna fish is pretty versatile. The other thing you can do with tuna fish is, of course, make tuna fish sandwiches. But I know growing up, I did not like mayonnaise at all. So I used to add barbecue sauce to my tuna fish and make barbecue tuna and make it hot and put it on toasted bread. And then I'd also take mustard and put it on tuna fish and eat that over salads or even a baked potato. I know it sounds crazy, but I really, really enjoyed it. And actually my sister and my mom did too. And I think we just have this sort of tangy gene in our family where we like mustard and kind of lemon and like different type of strong sour seasonings and different combinations like that. Of course, then I got married and my husband's family is all about mayonnaise. And so I started to adapt and get accustomed to using tuna fish that way. But it sounds kind of crazy, but you can try tuna fish different ways and see if you like it. Hummus wrap. So this is one that my kids really like and kind of discovered on their own. They decided, my daughter, especially when she was little, she was like 4 or 5, she just was like, Mom, I want to make a snack. And she went into the fridge and got some tortillas and hummus and started spreading it on. And then she sometimes would just eat it plain like that, but sometimes she would get lettuce or tomato, or we would do cucumbers or shredded carrots or put something on top like that, something crunchy to put inside of it. And hummus can count as a vegetable or a protein. And if you put it on really thin, it tastes like a nice, it's good, sorry, it's used really well like a condiment. So you can put hummus on instead of like mayonnaise or mustard on a sandwich or in a wrap, and then put your lunch meat on top. Or if you want like a Greek twist, you can do feta and olives. You can even make your own tzatziki sauce. So if you're missing gyros, tzatziki sauce is plain yogurt and cucumbers, lemon juice and dill, and you can kind of put it together in a good combo, or look up a recipe online and try to follow it based on what ingredients you have. The hummus can be really versatile. The other thing that my daughter likes to do is put peanut butter on a wrap. Once again, it could be whole wheat wraps or white wraps. And then you can put any type of fruit you want right there. And the great thing is tortillas are really shelf stable and they last in your pantry a whole lot longer than bread. You know, bread, you've got like a week, it's before it starts to kind of go stale. Tortillas, you've got like months before they start going stale in your pantry. And if you get the whole wheat kind, then you have even more fiber to keep you feeling longer, fuller longer. Oatmeal. And don't feel like you have to just eat oatmeal for breakfast. Once again, both of my kids, I'm not really sure why, when they were little, I'd ask them, I was like, all right, what do you want for dinner? And they would say oatmeal. And I was just like, I mean, I know I'm a nutritionist, but like, you want oatmeal for dinner? It's like, even I think that's a little weird. And I'd be like, oh, well, let's do oatmeal tomorrow morning. And my daughter would cry. And I finally was like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with oatmeal for dinner. Let's do it. You know, so add any fruit. If you have any nuts on hand, you can even put peanut butter in there or a nut butter. It is a hearty meal. It's a really great source of soluble fiber to lower cholesterol from oats. And then if you add things like walnuts, you get omega-3 fatty acids. Apples are more soluble fiber. So like you really can't really go wrong with making a nice bowl of oatmeal. And I used to have student workers on campus that would come into work with a plastic baggie and inside would be oats, nuts, dried fruit. And I'd say, what is that? What are you doing? She's like, oh, this is like my lunch. And then she'd pour in a bowl and go downstairs at Snelling in the admin office and add water and microwave it and sit there and eat it for her lunch at work at least twice a week. And quite honestly, it was pretty ingenious because it's light. She could put it in her backpack and go all day long carrying around her lunch without it weighing her down. And it's cheap and it's filling, lowers your cholesterol. So if you love oatmeal, try it for different times of the day. All right, so this is one of my favorite things to make for my kids. It came about on accident one time. I was asked to make Rice Krispie treats for a function and realized I didn't have any Rice Krispie treats, but I had lots of Cheerios. So I added Cheerios and then I thought, well, if I'm doing Cheerios, why don't I just make this like a trail mix type of thing and add dried fruit and nuts? And so that's exactly what I did. Sometimes I add oatmeal, sometimes I don't, but you just put together any dried fruit any type of nut or seed, and then any type of cereal. It doesn't have to be Cheerios. I like Cheerios because they are fortified with a lot of vitamins and minerals, and they happen to be gluten-free, so a lot of people can eat them. And then you just put marshmallows, just like a Rice Krispie treat, and you can use a little bit of margarine or butter with the marshmallows to melt them. They spread and coat a little easier that way. But if you don't have any margarine or butter on hand, the marshmallows work just fine. And so does that fluff that you can buy in a container if you don't have any marshmallows on hand. And once again, it's a really healthy snack when you're adding all those fruits and nuts and different things, and it makes it really filling and it fills you up on all that fiber. Okay, so that's what's in my pantry currently. Literally, I took pictures over the weekend of what I had, different some meal ideas, but I know I'm a dietitian. My pantry is not necessarily what you have in your pantry. So I decided to reach out to some of people I know and ask them to send me pictures of what they have. Now, I asked my sister, so she was raised with me, so there might be some similarities. Actually, this first one is from Chef Jorge. So our executive chef in dining is Chef Jorge Noriega. And he, in the fall, taught the Eating Smart class with me. And so what we did is every 4 weeks, we met with students and he would do a cooking demonstration and teach them how to make a recipe. And then I would talk about the nutritional perks, like why should you care about putting broccoli in your stir fry? Does it matter if you put a little onion or garlic? And yes, actually it does, because onion and garlic help fight cancer. And a lot of people feel like they don't even count. So throw the onions and garlic in. If that's the only vegetable you have on hand, it's worth it. So what he came up with lots of different recipes, but this is one that was really, really interesting. The students were, I'm not gonna lie, they were a little surprised because he said, I'm going to teach you how to make pasta, and the pasta sauce will be with hummus. They were all like, okay, what? And so this is his recipe. And what you do is you take pasta, and he took whole wheat pasta and he cooked it and he drained it. And then while he was cooking, he took the hummus and he put it in a saucepan and he started stirring it with some olive oil over kind of medium heat, some diced onions, some garlic, and it started smelling really good. And then he added chickpeas, and then he added some pasta water to thicken the sauce, and he stirred it in, and he ended up adding the pasta, and he passed it around to everybody. And I'm not kidding, every student loved it, and they could not believe that he'd made something so delicious with hummus, because it's something that we don't normally even think about in the United States. And luckily, Jorge is not only very creative and knowledgeable, but he has traveled all over the world. And so he has these different influences of different ideas that he can bring to the table. And so this I thought was super great, because some people, sometimes you're literally randomly looking through your pantry and you're like, I have pasta and hummus. What can I do with it? Well, now you know. Okay, so this picture is from my sister. She likes taco casserole. It's really easy for her family. And she is the mother of 5 kids. And I put their ages so that if you have a lot of kids or grandkids in your life that you're caring for right now, you can relate to my sister. She's a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and then 2 one-year-old twins, boy and girl, adorable. But she has her hands full. And right now she's being, school teacher to all of them and trying to cook. And so this is one of the things that she likes to do. Any type of ground meat would work. Any type of pasta would work. Salsa, seasoning, cheese, pretty easy. But you do see that you have different food groups there. You've got your grain, your protein, your vegetable actually is from the salsa. Salsa, if you think about it, it's just tomatoes that are cut up with onions, garlic, and then whatever else, maybe bell peppers, maybe even peaches, mango salsa. There's different things you can add to salsa, but primarily it's a vegetable base. And yeah, it counts as a vegetable, and especially during this time, right? And then you throw it all together and you can cook it. And once again, that salsa is going to help with the iron absorption from the noodles and the meat. Okay, this is another one that she really likes. And believe it or not, her kids love it, and so do mine. We grew up with a lot of black-eyed peas. My dad always had a really, really big garden, and my sister was a super picky eater, and so was my little brother. But my older brother and I were not, and he was like, how can I help them not be picky? And he decided to make a really big garden and have them go out and work in the garden with him and pull weeds as a way to get them to look at plants in a different way. And one of the things he would grow is black-eyed peas, and we would learn how to harvest them and then use them. And so my sister over time became well, she's not even picky anymore. So she's branched out to a lot of different things. And what she really likes is she loves black-eyed peas and she loves green beans and combining them and together. And when you buy the kind that are in a can, they come with like this nice savory sauce. And so you just literally heat that up and serve it over rice. And yeah, her kids actually eat it, and so do mine. Okay, slow cooker beans. My sister said that our mom taught her this meal, and I can tell you I have zero recollection of this meal growing up. However, we're about 7 years apart, and so perhaps my mom started doing this when I moved out to college. I really don't know, but she's like, oh yeah, you take beans and you put it in a slow cooker and you add canned chicken and corn, and she says it's wonderful. And she said that she didn't have corn. She doesn't always have corn on hand, so she'll do it with those mixed vegetables. And I have to tell you, when she sent me that picture, I was like, you got to explain this meal. I don't even understand what is going on right now. But when she explained it, I was like, actually, I can see how it would have a nice savory flavor. And she says, once again, all her kids really like it. All right, so she makes chili this way. She has different types of beans. A lot of people think of kidney beans, but they don't always think of adding a new type of bean. So be adventurous. If all you have right now is some black beans, you can still put your chili and cumin, different seasonings in there and make it that nice chili flavor without feeling like you have to have a certain type of bean. She normally adds corn to this. If I'm making chili, I'm gonna add like zucchini and squash and mushrooms. I know that sounds weird, but that's what my mother-in-law did. And I learned that from her years ago, and I love it. It adds this depth of flavor and vegetables that I just really, really enjoy. And I have this dicer, and so I put my vegetables in and they come out really, really tiny. So then my kids eat it and they don't even know they're eating tons of vegetables, and it's not like a texture issue. Because I know some people have a texture issue when it comes to different things like that. But you can also puree those things and pour them in to boost the flavor of the dish if people have texture issues and they don't want chunks of vegetables like zucchini in their chili. But I like the chunks. And I've even made it with eggplant before, and it's delicious. And then you can add meat or not add meat, depending on if you like meat or have meat, or if you're vegetarian. She also likes to make an enchilada. Oh, this is from my sister-in-law. So now I asked her for pictures, and she has 3 kids, 14, 12, and 10. And I can tell you that she had zero knowledge of cooking up until about 10 years ago, and spent the first 10 years of adulthood having like no clue what to do, and has recently gotten into cooking and recently getting into trying to eat healthy. She's been on a weight loss journey, and she's lost about 30 pounds, and she's kept it off for about 4 years now. And so the way she eats completely different than how she used to eat, because it used to all be either pre-cooked, fast food, or come prepackaged in like a frozen meal or snacks. And she's really learned how to start trying to venture out and learn how to cook and not be scared. And the reason I share that story is so that you cannot be scared of trying to cook if you're not used to doing it. So these are things that she loves to throw together on a pot: corn, beans, tomatoes, enchilada sauce, and then she boils some rice, or boils water and makes some rice. Really simple, fast. Once again, great source of protein, potassium, vitamin C, vitamin K, and all of it's pretty simple and fast. This is another one of her meals. She takes pasta and Alfredo sauce. However, if you look at those pictures, that's a very special type of pasta. Like, it is a pasta made from chickpeas, and it has an insane amount of protein in there. If you look in the corner, it tells you there's 25 grams of protein in that pasta. Okay, and that's as much protein as you get from a 3-ounce chicken breast, which is the same size that we serve at the grill in the dining halls. So that is a lot of protein coming from your pasta. So I've highlighted it in purple on the slide. It's from your protein group. Now the Alfredo sauce she uses is also special. It's got cauliflower in it, and it also has milk. And those are tricks to extend the creaminess of something and enhance the creaminess without having to add tons of cream. And so it makes it a whole lot less calories overall and less fat. And then it, of course, boosts your vegetable intake. So you'll see that I've highlighted it half in blue for the dairy group and half in green for the vegetable group. And it's a very simple meal. Boil some pasta, add the sauce, and she's done. Another thing that she keeps in her cabinet is nutritional yeast. Now that is not very common. If you're vegetarian, you might be used to using it. Nutritional yeast gives a nice savory flavor to food. It's amazing how incredible that nutritional yeast will take, and it can taste just like you added meat to your spaghetti sauce. So what she'll do is either make her spaghetti sauce using tomato sauce and tomatoes and tomato paste, or she'll just use a can of tomato sauce. And then she adds a nutritional yeast, and it makes it feel like it has meat in there, even though she doesn't have meat. So maybe you don't have meat left in in your freezer or in your fridge, and it's between payday or it's between shopping trips, and so you can do something like nutritional yeast. Now it is kind of expensive for that jar, but you can see you only use a tablespoon at a time, so that jar would last you months. Nutritional yeast is really high in B12, which is a vitamin that's only found in animal protein. And so a lot of, like I said, vegetarians will use it to enhance the flavor of dishes, but also to get that B12 into their diet. Okay, so then I emailed a friend of mine who is a UGA, or she used to be a UGA grad student, and she's working on her doctorate. Okay, so she said that this is the best rice casserole ever. And this is what she puts together, these 4 ingredients to make a casserole. As you can see, lots of flavor, lots of calories, lots of energy, but not a lot of nutrients. The only food group there is rice, because the beef broth and the French onion soup really don't count as another food group. I mean, the French onion soup is going to have some onion in there, so a little bit of vegetable, but mostly just flavor. And the butter, of course, would be fat that's adding to that rice. And so what I would say is make it. It looks delicious. She says it's incredible. Honestly, I want to try it. But what I would say is add maybe protein to it, or protein on the side, or maybe make some green beans to eat with it, or have a banana with it. You know, do whatever you need to do to kind of turn it into a meal that makes sense for your family. This is another meal idea. I asked an undergraduate student that I've been working with this semester. I've been, for different reasons, he's been helping with different things on campus, but he reached out to me because he wanted to learn about nutrition. And so I said, hey, show me a picture of what you like to make. And he actually had a picture of these beans and the pasta, and instead of making had a pasta sauce, he takes a tomato and onion and turns that into the pasta sauce. And he was really funny because he even sent me a video of it. And so this is him cooking the pasta. And I said, how did you happen to have a video of your food? And then he was really sweet because he said, my mom lives across the country. And so what I like to do is I like to talk to her while I'm cooking, and I will send her videos of whatever I'm preparing. And he said, even though his cooking style is a lot like his dad's, this is one way that he bonds with his mom is in cooking. It was like the sweetest story. I was like, oh man, I love it. I love that. But this is what he makes. And it's just like a 2-second video that he just kind of zooms in, so you can see that it's got those beans and those tomatoes and those onions, but it looks delicious, and that looks way better than I thought it was going to look when I looked at his first ingredients. He's also observing Passover right now, and so he said this is what he does for quesadillas. There's a bell pepper, onions, cheese, and instead of quesadillas or tortillas, because of Passover, he's using matzah. And I think it's a very creative use of matzah. However, if you're not observing Passover right now, you could use tortillas. You could do this over toast. You could do it over rice. You don't have to have tortillas to try to get that same quesadilla flavor. The texture will be a little different, but you can kind of have fun trying to mimic your favorite foods using what you have on hand. This is another one of his dishes that he shared with me. It's chicken and split peas, and then it's that yellow jar is cumin. And he said that's a staple spice that he keeps on hand. And cumin is the spice that you use in chili a lot. So it's going to give this really kind of savory, kind of not meaty flavor, but it's a savory flavor that you think of a lot when you think of meat. especially chili. So if I'm making chili without like a chili packet, then I love having cumin on hand, because without it, I can't get that chili smoked flavor, you know? So this is what he does. And he says he just turns it into a stir fry and serves it over rice. But you could also use noodles. And it's just a really simple sauce with 2 ingredients, oil and cumin. But you could use any spice that you have on hand. My favorite spice to use is rosemary. And I'm lucky enough to have a rosemary plant that grew in my yard when I moved into my house. And so I go out there all the time, and I always take rosemary, and I will put oil down, rosemary, let it fry the rosemary or pan fry the rosemary, and then take my protein and stick it right on top. And so the rosemary sticks to my meat. And I just think it makes the best meat ever. And then salt and pepper, that's it. That's all you need. So I think it makes the best salmon, the best chicken. It's incredible. He also likes to do oven roasted potatoes. So you can just dice your potatoes, add different, you know, this is garlic and onions. He likes to add salt and citric acid. Now, citric acid is something unique to Persian cultures, or not, I shouldn't say unique. It's often used in Persian cultures. And so it's a unique ingredient that you don't see all the time, a lot of people using. And really it is, it's just a very sour flavoring. And it's a high source of vitamin C. So what you can use instead would be lemon or lime. It's just citric acid is more intense. And so that's actually what he has on hand, believe it or not. So my questions for you are, what are some things that you have in your pantry? And I actually want to ask Flores, Catherine, to chime in a little bit right now, because she had a really great meal idea that was pretty simple that she was telling me about this morning.
Okay, so for those who know or have had any kind of interaction with me, you know I'm a low key, not the chef Boyardee of this group. So it's got to be simple. And one day, trying to come up with something for one of my family members that was having the flu. Found chicken noodle soup. I look in our pantry and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna make. This is not gonna work. But found a can of chicken noodle soup and threw a can of the canned chicken and Mrs. Dash, and that has just been the highlight thing. You know, that's the thing now. You know, what can I make? Oh, I can make some canned chicken noodle soup like nobody's business. And so I'm rocking the chicken noodle soup at this point. Catherine, we only have like 7 minutes left, and we got a bucket load of questions. You
Yeah, ready? Yeah, I'm totally done. So right. Time for questions.
Rapid fire. Here we go. Let's see. I lost my place. Which fruit and veggie would be your number one choice?
I'd say berries, because they help with heart disease and they are really high in fiber. And so if you don't have a lot of fruits and vegetables going on, I know this is personal and TMI, however, you might find you're getting a little constipated. Berries are going to run things and speed things right back up. So if I had to pick one fruit, it's berries. One vegetable, it would probably be spinach or broccoli.
Okay. So Mythbusters, is it true tomatoes cause arthritis?
No, I've never seen that, but I will be more than happy to double check. But there are some people who have to avoid the nightshade vegetable family because of arthritis or thyroid problems. And that would be very, very specific. And hopefully your doctor would tell you. But for most, tomatoes are not going to cause arthritis though. But if you have arthritis, tomatoes are not going to make it worse. You would only need to avoid them if you have a thyroid issue and your doctor has told you to.
Okay. What's your opinion on the Fresh Express gourmet salad kits as far as their nutrition value?
I would say some of them are really good. Some of them aren't. So what I'd say is use the knowledge I just gave you. Look for 3 food groups. So if it's just chicken and lettuce And croutons, I mean, technically that's 3 food groups, but croutons, you could argue about the nutritional value there, right? But if they're putting something else in there, like some bell peppers or tomatoes or a hard-boiled egg or some beans or quinoa, then that's fantastic. So just kind of use your common sense. What is in there?
Do peanuts cause high cholesterol?
No, they don't. However, if you eat too much of them, they'll cause you to gain weight. And then the heavier you are, the higher your cholesterol tends to go. So, but just eating a handful of peanuts is not going to give you cholesterol problems. You just want to keep it to a little handful. That's all you need once a day. Have it a snack.
Can you cook the nutrients out of your veggies?
Some of them, yes. So if you boil cauliflower or spinach, then a lot of those, like vitamin C, loves to leach out and get in the water. So then when you dump the water out, there goes a lot of your B vitamins and your vitamin C. So what you want to do is you want to steam your vegetable, or if you do boil it, make sure it's because it's a soup that you have a stock, and then you throw your vegetables in, and you're not going to drain all those vitamins out. You're going to actually just eat the soup and get the vitamins. So some vitamins are heat sensitive, so you want to make sure you're steaming or even microwaving. Microwaving actually keeps all the vitamins in the best.
Okay. For somebody that's allergic to orange juice, what's a good substitution for orange juice?
Yeah, so the reason I recommend orange juice is because of the vitamin C. So you can do anything else with vitamin C. So if you're allergic to, you could do grapefruit juice, but if you're allergic to all citrus, then you could do strawberries or kiwi, or like I said before, tomatoes have a lot of vitamin C, bell peppers, spinach, green beans have vitamin C. So you don't have to just do oranges. You can do those other fruits and vegetables instead. And for the calcium, the oranges have calcium naturally. You could also do something like almonds instead, or yogurt or milk.
Okay. When you eat vegetables and you make a sauce, or you use any kind of dipping sauce like ranch or similar, does it take away the benefits?
No. So whatever your nutrients are in that broccoli, if you dip it, you're going to get all those nutrients. However, if you're smothering it in ranch, then the calories are going to go up, right? So the nutrients in the broccoli or the carrots or the celery or whatever cucumbers that you're dipping are still there. They're still going to be high, but naturally the calories of vegetables are here. When you add dipping sauce, you're just making the calories go up. So you're not ruining the nutrients, but you're definitely increasing the calories and maybe the potential to gain weight.
Oh, but ranch is so good. What are your thoughts on the different types of meal kits? I know we talked about the one salad kit, but what about meals? Same with the meal kits?
Yeah, it's the same with meal kits, just to kind of explore and look to see what's in there. And so some of the meal kits have like really good protein source and then maybe a little smattering of vegetable. And so you might think, ooh, maybe I should add a can of green beans to this. Some of them are more balanced. It really depends on what store you're at and where you're getting it from. And just going back to the ranch, like if you really love ranch and you need to dip your vegetables in something, you can dip them in salsa, you can dip them in hummus, you can do peanut butter, carrots and peanut butter. A lot of people like that. But you can also use ranch. Just put it in a little bowl, right? And that way you can make sure that you're not overdoing it.
Okay. What's your personal thoughts on the organic option of eggs and vegetables and things like that?
That's a great question. So organic fruits and vegetables have the same nutritional value as regular or conventional. The difference is really the pesticide use. So if organic is important to you and you can afford it, great. But if you can't, don't worry that your vitamin C is less because you're getting conventional, because that's not true. The vitamins and minerals in your produce really depends on the soil health. And you can get any type of fruits and vegetables you can afford. And I like to tell people that even a canned green bean is better than no green bean. So it doesn't matter if you have to buy it canned and it's not organic, you're still going to get some good nutritional quality. But the highest nutritional quality is actually frozen. If you have a garden in your backyard, then fresh is the best. But if fresh is coming from the grocery store, it's actually been what, a week or two, or even 3 after harvest before you eat it. Whereas frozen, they pick it, freeze it the next day, and then all those nutrients are sitting waiting for you in the grocery store. So if you want the absolute best nutritional value, you get frozen. And when it comes to organic meat, now some organic meat can be higher in omega-3 fatty acids and have a better fat profile. And organic eggs can sometimes have better nutritional quality. But once again, it really depends on what you're feeding the chickens, how good the eggs are. So you have some organic eggs that are very healthy, and then you have regular eggs, some of those that are very healthy. It really depends on, it's more important what they're feeding the chicken and the cow, and if they're free range and getting grass fed versus if it's just purely organic.
Okay. Pantry staples, the use by dates, how important are they?
They're pretty good indicators of the quality and the taste. However, you can usually go a month or so after that expiration date, up to a couple months, but you don't want to go too far because you don't want to risk foodborne illness. So one of the best things you can do is you try to open the can, and if it sizzles and pops, that's a bad sign. It means bacteria is in there. Or if you look at it and the top of the lid is already popped and kind of bubbled up, then that's a bad indication. There are people who have found canned goods and eaten them 5 years later and not gotten sick, but that is not something you want to risk and try to do. So if it's just like a couple weeks or even a month after the expiration date, you're fine, but you really don't want to go and risk beyond that.
Okay. If tuna is not if you're not the biggest fan of tuna, what would be the next fish substitute?
I would say, like I said earlier, canned chicken would be great. But if you liked salmon, you could do salmon. They even have, you could get it frozen, or you could do canned salmon. But if fish is just not your thing and you're not going to eat fish, then get whatever protein you like. Do eggs, do beans, do chicken. Those omega-3 fatty acids, you can also get them in walnuts. And you can also take a fish oil supplement. So like, not castor oil. Yeah, I think it's called castor oil. Or no, it's not castor oil. It's cod liver oil, also has omega-3 fatty acids, but you can buy that at the store. So if you hate fish or you're allergic to fish or you're just not going to eat fish, do a different protein.
Okay. I know we're over time, but the questions are so good and I just want to keep going. So we're, if you can hang out with us, keep hanging out. If you have to go, then go, but I really want to get these questions in. Oatmeal, which is the good, which one is a good one? The usual oatmeal or steel cut oatmeal?
All of them are fine. So the difference, steel cut is just coarser, and then rolled, they've just kind of made it softer for you. And then there's instant, which is even flatter and thinner and softer. All they do is determine the cook time for you. But in terms of the nutritional quality and fiber are the same. So it's a texture issue. Get whatever one works for you that you like.
Okay. For your okra, do you just throw it on the grill or do you soak and season, and what do you do to that before you throw it?
That's a great question. So I have just thrown it on the grill. It's delicious, but it's better if you take a bag, put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom and some salt and pepper, and you throw in your okra, and then you toss it and coat it so that every single okra is nice and coated. And then you can take foil and put it on the grill, or just put it straight on the grill and then it gets those charred marks on it. It's just incredible. I'm telling you, it's so simple. Salt, pepper, olive oil, okra, grilled. It's like, it tastes, to me, it tastes like I'm eating barbecue chicken. It's got whatever I've put on the grill, that's what my okra starts tasting like.
All right. What about, let me see, I lost my place. Kale chips, making kale chips.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you can take kale and you can lay it on a cookie sheet. and put it in the oven and crisp it up. And some people like to put salt and pepper or a little bit of oil and salt and pepper or seasoned salt. You can find different recipes online, but kale chips are fantastic, very healthy.
Okay, I think that everybody's loving all of the ideas, and I know I greatly appreciate all of the. I'll be going back to this website and looking at the video again. We will make your PowerPoint presentation available on the website as well, just for the pictures and the recipe ideas that were super helpful. And so we'll be able to get to those again. Fish is a favorite to eat, but should we be worried about the mercury?
Oh, that's a great question. And I actually put like a little blurb in my presentation, but forgot to mention it. So certain fish are higher in mercury. And so tuna fish actually has a medium level of mercury. So you only want to eat it twice a week. And if you do those tiny little cans that are 3 ounces, you can have 2 of those a week and you're totally fine. There's some really good websites that you can Google for mercury levels of fish, but things like shrimp and oysters and any type of shellfish have like no mercury. And tilapia and the smaller fish have very, very low levels of mercury, but the big fish have more mercury. So you do want to be careful. And the like shark and alligator actually have insane levels of mercury. So those are things you would not want to be eating, honestly, more than even like once a year because they're so high. So it depends on your fish. But tilapia and salmon and shrimp and tuna tend to be the most popular fishes, and all of those are good on the mercury level. It's just that tuna fish, like I said, just 2 cans a week and then you're good.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, we went over and we apologize for that, but I just couldn't stop, and I wanted to get all the questions in. So thank you, Katherine, for the presentation this morning. It was wonderful, and now I have some other things that I can try to fix and see. I have some super picky people in my house, so the more adventurous will maybe try the new things, and the others, they'll just figure out something on their own that'll be okay.
Yeah, just deal with what you've got, do what you can. And I have to say about picky eating is that it takes 6 to 10 times being exposed to something new before you stop thinking it's so weird. So you can always just try and try again, but that's something we can always address in future